Okay, so this is a follow-up video. This is approximately a year later after we made the initial video. I've been sent this fuser by someone who has purchased the fuser roller that we sell. A lot of these have now popped up on eBay of all places, and they're mega cheap, and I've started receiving a lot of emails and phone calls about people who've purchased these really cheap eBay rollers. The person that sent us this fuser, he's given us the link, and we've purchased one of these rollers. So when you buy them on eBay from various sellers, this is how they come. They come in a brown box like this. Our rollers just come wrapped up in paper with some protected packaging around it. But these are the really cheap eBay rollers. They look virtually identical. So this is one of the really cheap eBay ones. They look identical. This is my one. So they're pretty much one-to-one. They look identical. But the problem is they don't work. So yeah, a lot of people, because they're so cheap, you can't resist. But of course, this is what's led you to the problem that you're in with this particular model of printer, because you've gone and bought the really cheap eBay cartridges, which has led to this roller failing. And then you've then found my video on how to solve the problem, and instead of buying the roller from us, you've then gone back onto eBay and bought the really cheap roller, which has in turn made your problem even worse, because this is what happens. So this customer sent us this fuser. He'd followed our installation video. He'd bought this mega cheap roller. He'd put it all in, thinking all his problems are going to be solved. But then this unit started pouring smoke out the back of his printer. And then the printer kept turning itself off, turning itself back on, turning itself off, turning itself back on. It would come up with machine failure error, and he couldn't work out what's going on. And if you have a look, this is what happens. You can see there it's all burnt at the ends of the roller. You can see the Teflon is all burnt. It's all melted. There's some serious overheating has occurred, and it's actually on both ends. And if you have a look at the fuser, it's got quite a bit of a bow to it now. So it's sort of bent a little bit from the overheating, and it's just sat there, and it's heated and heated and heated. The machine's the guy's been able to get the machine to work periodically, but it just constantly says cooling down for a while, or machine failure. The lower roller is still okay in this case, because the machine's kept rotating it, which has protected it from the overheating. And yeah, so the rollers look identical. They look like they're going to work, but there's one key component between both these rollers, and the key component is the lining. So these really cheap rollers, I can tell which is mine, and I can tell which is these nasty rollers, and it's pretty obvious. So if you have a look at the rollers, look at them inside. These cheap pieces of crap Pretty easy to tell which one. You can probably work it out yourself just by looking. The roller on the left is your cheap and nasty eBay roller. You can see it's all shiny inside. My roller is not so shiny. It's got a special material lined on the inside of the roller, which helps the roller absorb the heat from this heater lamp, which is in the middle. So what happens with these shithouse dirt cheap rollers is that because it's nice and shiny inside, and it's inside a parabola like a satellite dish, because the lamp's at the focal point and it's all nice and shiny, the heat that's produced by the lamp gets reflected back at the lamp. The roller won't absorb the heat that's produced by the lamp because there's no lining inside the roller, the heat absorption material. So you can see there, nice bit of lining on the inside of it. And what that does is when the lamp turns on and it heats up, that absorption material transfers the heat produced by the lamp from inside the roller to the outside surface of the roller. These shithouse rollers, which are being sold by the thousands and undercutting me on eBay, virtually every single person that puts one of these rollers into their machine, it will damage their machine. It will damage the fusee unit. And it's just simply because there's no heat absorption material on the inside of this roller. You can see it's just it just won't work. It's as simple as that. So when the lamp comes on, the heat is reflected back at the lamp, and if it stays on for too long, eventually the lamp blows. And because the roller isn't absorbing the heat, because there's no absorption material and transferring it to the outside, this lamp stays on longer than it's supposed to, and it ends up melting the case, and it melts the whole plastic Teflon frame of the unit. So this is I'm just posting this follow-up video because I can't answer all the emails and all the phone calls that are coming in. You know, they come in from, you know, everywhere in the world. So be warned, if you take the risk and order one of these really cheap and nasty eBay rollers, then you've dug your hole even further. Yep, so that's just a follow-up. If you got any questions, just send me an email. And I hope that answers all your questions. Have a nice day.